Good morning, dear participants of the International Conference, The Future of Education. My name is Jose Rodriguez. I'm a professor at the University of Almería, and I would like to present you our work entitled Using NeoTrie VR for STEM Education in Virtual Reality. And what is NeoTrie VR? NeoTrie VR is a dynamic geometry software which allows students to create, manipulate, and interact with 3D geometric objects in virtual reality. For that, you need a headset like this one and some controller to interact with the objects. Here, you can see some standard dynamic geometric tools like a protector to measure angles. You have some parallel tool, perpendicular tool, middle point tool, rotation, reflections, etc. This software can be used to generate VR activities, not only for mathematics, but for other areas, STEM areas. During the last years, we have been working several people, including researchers, teachers, and students, degree and master students. And I will show you now some of the results of this team. The first essays to produce didactic activities was taken at the University of Almería by a group of master students for secondary school teachers. There, we treat basic 3D figures like prisms, pyramids, platonic solids, etc. We also studied tilings and easy fractals. The tilings were made in NeoTrie, but also with manipulative materials, as you see here. And we worked in groups, small groups of 2 or 3, 4 people. I have to say that at this time, the software had many bugs, and I have to acknowledge Diego Cangas, who is the main developer of the software, the main creator of the software, and the CEO of Virtual Door. In the next academic year, we contact a Polish teacher to work together with NeoTrie. I let her to present her work.
Hello, I am Grażyna Morga from Poland. Since 2018, lessons were taught using NeoTrie for students from 10 to 14 years old in different class groups with 26 pupils. For each age group and based on the Math Poland core curriculum, NeoTrie lessons were referring to angles, polygons, prisms, and pyramids. In most of the classes, the software was used during the whole lesson or only in a part of it, depending on the needs. At the beginning of each lesson and in 3 or 5 students group, and the tasks were assigned to be carried out using NeoTrie. To solve the task, students had to develop their own strategies and use adequate tools. Also, one delegate performed the task in NeoTrie. Some lessons or tasks were only taught by the teacher, and in some cases the teacher did not use the board but wrote down all the important information using the software. After each lesson, a log was kept with the information about the day, topic of the lesson, number and age of the pupils, and a descriptions of the activities to be performed with use of NeoTrie, necessary tools, the advantages and disadvantages, as well as recommendations. These recommendations provide guidelines and suggestions to teachers on how to organize a lesson using NeoTrie in the most effective way. The effect of using the program is that now the participating students solve geometric tasks faster compared with other methodologies, especially those that require special imagination and those with a higher degree of difficulty. Since the program has been implemented, students are more active, become more engaged and open-minded, prone to cooperation, and they formulate conclusions.
Since the very beginning, we have used NeoTrie to construct complex structures like fractals. In this project, which is already published by our PhD student, Dante Ivan, co-directed together with Isabel Romero, we have studied how to introduce fractals in secondary school. We made a study with 12 students aged 12 to 13. They work in groups of 4 persons. They use images and manipulative fractals combined with NeoTrie. And they were able to identify the existence of self-similarity in each of the fractals we made and the recursive character of them. They showed a high degree of concentration as well as the desire to solve new challenges. You can see this published work in our website already.
Hello, I am Jacob Kamerling from the Netherlands. As a math teacher, I'm working with students from 12 until 18 years old. With the younger students, I did a small project with transformations. The students already knew how to reflect and rotate in 2 dimensions. With a NeoTrie, the students were challenged to apply the concepts that were learned in 2D to 3D. After learning to handle the basics of NeoTrie, they discovered new possibilities of transformations in 3D. With only a little bit of instruction, students learned, acting with NeoTrie, how to reflect in a plane and how to rotate around a line. Fitting 2 half cubes to 1 cube by using the newly discovered transformations generated discussion between the motivated students and so a lot of mathematical thinking. The older students did a project with platonic solids. During geometry lessons, 2 groups of 3 students got to know platonic solids and their duals. They also were challenged to construct platonic solid number 6 and tried to discover why this is not possible. Students created fractals from scaled platonic solids. Finding and applying multiplication factors generated good math explorations. Just as with the younger group of students, NeoTrie challenged to act and to think mathematically. During the lessons, I was teaching geometrical concepts for students that during that specific lesson did not work with NeoTrie. The students working with NeoTrie acted with motivation and mostly did not need my help. Every group delivered a NeoTrie coach for the next group. So for some weeks I had a classroom bubbling with all sorts of geometrical activities.
Encarni and José Manuel from Malaga. They work with the students of 12 and 13 years old about areas and perimeters, as you can see here, of polygons, and with students of 13 and 15 years old, they use the new multi-view plane tool. The methodology they use, first they extract some of the students, and then they work in couples. One of them knew very well the tool and teach the other. They were highly motivated, as you will see here in the next video, and they could manipulate the geometric objects and take measures as if they were real. I'll show you now the video.
El proyecto NeoTrie VR, es un programa de geometría en 3D utilizando realidad virtual. Eso permite interactuar con los objetos y poder hacer construcciones con nuestras propias manos. Y permite investigar sobre todo objetos relacionados con la geometría en el espacio. Con estos mandos y estas gafas, pues el alumno se mete en un entorno totalmente inmersivo e interactúa con los objetos y con sus propias creaciones. Es distinto a otras herramientas que solamente son inmersivas pero no interactúan.
Es un poquito complicado al principio, pero después ya se va aprendiendo, le coges su truco y al final te diviertes. Mientras que un compañero va probando y midiendo las formas dentro de lo que serían las gafas, otro las va apuntando así, de una forma todos colaboran.
Para hacer figuras y cosas pues, más geométricas y aprender mejor las cosas. Por ejemplo, en vez de hacerlo en una simple hoja de papel, puedes hacerlo más complejo y más divertido también, otra forma diferente para hacer las cosas.
This year has been complicated because of the pandemic. So we have to make use of NeoTrie to teach from distance. I use this headset and the controllers to teach some difficult concepts in the math degree. And students, sometimes they could use these glasses for mobile phones to see some of my videos, my stereoscopic videos, recorded inside NeoTrie. From the point of view of students, they like this way of teaching and learning, but they preferred also manipulating. So I asked them to do some exercises with GeoGebra. Finally, Isabel Romero and Maria del Mar have also recorded some videos in NeoTrie and use NeoTrie to teach their lessons. Let me finish with them.
Hello, we are Isabel Romero and Mar Garcia from the University of Almeria in Spain, and we have used NeoTrie to teach pre-service primary teachers how to introduce basic CD figures such as pyramids and prisms to school children. For that purpose, we not only use the definition and some prototypical examples. According to Wiener's model, we also use non-prototypical examples and counterexamples in order to discuss which are the relevant properties of these concepts, to distinguish the irrelevant properties of the examples, and to classify them in different types. With NeoTrie, it's very easy to construct a gallery of examples and counterexamples that we cannot find in ready-made materials. It is true that the figures could also be constructed with material means, but it takes longer and it's more difficult to share them with all the students for whole class discussions. Also, the use of NeoTrie has been very convenient in the circumstances of the pandemic, since we could use the software to teach online lessons as well as to make videos for our students. Besides, some of them have been able to teach pyramids and prisms to primary students following this model, by means of the videos made up with NeoTrie and some sessions with the software in the classrooms. Both pre-service teachers and primary students were very content about learning this way, I have to say, and they were able to enhance their geometrical vocabulary and their understanding of these basic CD figures. In the words of the students, the experience was interesting, useful, amazing, efficient, brilliant, innovative, enriching, and fundamental to visualize CD figures and to learn about their properties.
I invite you to visit our website and see applications to art, chemistry, astronomy, topography, some scanning figures, to music, some geography, and some 3D printing. Thank you very much for your attention and hope you have a nice conference.